When I was a young man, I came across a statistic that you've probably seen. It said that the average person only uses about 10% of their potential, and the other 90% is left unused throughout their lifetime. Well, recent research shows that this statistic is not true. The average person only uses about 2% of their potential, and the other 98% is stored like treasure buried in the ground. It's never used. And what do people use their 2% for? Well, they use it mostly for conversation at work and with their friends. They use it for messaging and tweeting. They use it for watching television. The average person watches a screen, any kind of screen, 3 to 5 hours per day, whether it's a computer, an iPhone, an iPad, or television. And most of what they're watching falls into category 2, completely irrelevant and unimportant. It makes no difference in their lives at all. But whatever you do over and over again becomes a habit. So today we have an entire generation of people who have developed the habit of watching screens all the time. And as a result, their lives move very, very slowly. So you have to ask yourself, is this a good use of my time? Does this work have tremendous consequences for me? When I started studying thinking, I asked, what is the activity that has the greatest potential final consequences for your life? And the answer is thinking. Because the quality of your thinking determines the quality of your actions. The quality of your actions determines the quality of your result. And in life, everything is results. Now, whatever age you are, if you look at successful people, there is one quality they all have. They get a lot of results. They are known by everybody as the people who get the most results. They are extremely results-oriented. They think about results all the time. And what is the characteristic of unhappy and unsuccessful people? They waste most of their time. What do people at work waste most of their time doing? Talking to their friends. When they go to work in the morning, they don't actually go to work, they go and find somebody to talk to. It's like ducks in a farmyard. Quack, 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 quack. If you walk into any business office, everybody is quacking, and then it's lunchtime, so they all go out, quack, quack, quack. Then they come back, quack, 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 quack. And nobody does any work. Everybody is quack, quack, quacking. Then they check their email, check their Facebook, and then they go quack, quack, and have some coffee. Then they go home. I've noticed that in Russia, the workday is from about 8 in the morning until about 5 in the evening. However, when I drive in traffic around 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon, the roads are already full of cars. Why? Because everybody who's supposed to get off work at 5 is actually going home early. They're going home early so they can watch television. They're going home early so they can get ahead of the traffic. Quack, quack, quack. So most of the time at work is wasted. Now, I'll give you a technique to transform your life. When you go to work, work all the time. When you start in the morning, just work all day. Don't do anything but work. If somebody wants to talk to you, quack, 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 you say, yes, but not now. Let's talk after work, or let's talk on the weekend. But right now I have to do my work. Eventually, people will stop talking to you and they'll go talk to someone else. Quack, quack. And you will accomplish 2 or 3 times as much each day. If you just go to work, start work, and work all day long, you will produce twice as much, you will be paid twice as much, and you will be promoted twice as fast. This is true all over the world, no matter the situation. By the way, I've said that this is a great time of opportunity in Russia. Did you know that most of the most successful businesses were started at the bottom of a recession? Most of the most successful careers, including mine, were started at the bottom of a recession. What happens in a recession is that you are forced to think much better than before. You're forced to make much better decisions. You're forced to take much better action. You're forced to focus more intently on the activities that have the greatest consequences. And as a result, times of great difficulty are also times of great opportunity for you and for me, because you can grow faster and become stronger today than perhaps at any other time in your life. So don't complain about the difficulties of today. First of all, we can't do anything about them. And second of all, look for the advantages or benefits that they might have for your future. Now, here's the second question for you, and I ask this all the time. When I first heard it, I didn't know the answer. The question is, what is your most valuable financial asset? When I first heard that, I thought, well, it's my house or my car or my bank account. No. Your most valuable financial asset is your earning ability. It's your ability to earn money. Your earning ability is like an oil well that just keeps gushing oil. You can lose everything in the world, but if you have your earning ability, you can build it all back again. Your earning ability is the most powerful and most valuable financial asset you have. And your earning ability, by definition, is your ability to get results that people will pay you for. Now, this doesn't mean that you are not a valuable person. Every human being is of incredible value. But some people's earning ability is much higher than others, and your earning ability is an asset. It can either increase in value. Now, here's what they found in the studies, the 80/20 rule. They found that the bottom 80% of people, the ones who struggle with money and worry about money all their lives, will work to a certain level in their first job and then level off. They will never improve for the rest of their lives unless they are forced to. 10 years after starting work, the average person today is no more productive at getting results than they were after 1 year. But the people in the top 20% are very different. The people in the bottom 80% increase their income by about 2-3% per year. The people in the top 20% increase their income at an average of about 11% per year. If your income goes up 11% per year, you will double your income every 6 or 7 years. And then you'll double it again, and then you'll double it again. Soon, you'll live in a beautiful house, you'll drive a nice car, you'll send your children to private schools, you'll have a nice bank account, and you'll be happy. But if you don't keep increasing your income, nothing good will happen. Now, what is the difference? The answer is, the people in the bottom 80% stop learning after they leave school, but the people in the top 20% are always learning new things, and as a result, they are constantly increasing their earning ability. Now, one of my favorite statistics is the measurement of the highest paid people in America. By the way, these statistics hold true in almost every country. Researchers looked at the top 500 executives of the 500 biggest companies, and every year they conduct this calculation. Last year, they found that the average top executive earned about $10 million. Now, this person started off at the beginning of their career with no earning ability, no ability to generate results at all. Yet today, their companies are willingly paying them $10 million just to come to work. What happened? Well, the average top executive earns 257 times the average pay of the employees in their company. 257 times. We're not talking about twice as much or 3 times as much. We're talking about 257 times. Some top executives earned 3,400 times the amount paid to the average employee in their company. How can this happen? Here's what they discovered. Every year, about 1% to 1.12% of the population enters the workforce for the first time, taking their first jobs as adults. It's like a big marathon, a grand race. Everyone lines up and then, bang, the starting gun goes off and everybody starts running. And just like in a marathon, some people get way ahead. In this case, in the earnings race, the vast majority remain in the middle, while some fall far behind. Researchers just completed a 25-year study, one of the greatest studies on success ever conducted. They sought to answer this question. How is it that these people can earn such high salaries? These individuals are receiving nearly $1 million a month just for going to work, and if they lost their jobs for any reason, another company would immediately hire them and pay them $10 million a year. How is this possible? The researchers at a major university investigated whether these individuals possessed extraordinary intelligence, special gifts, or unique talents that enabled them to achieve such remarkable success. So they went back and examined their school records, their first jobs, their second jobs, and you know what they found? These people were just average when they started. They didn't look any different from anyone else. They were just ordinary individuals. But then they all started practicing a single strategy, one that will change your life and career forever. And it's so simple, you won't believe it. When these people took their first jobs, the first thing they did was approach their boss and say, "Boss, I want to make a valuable contribution to this company, and I want to be successful here. What one skill would help me the most to achieve that goal and make a more valuable contribution?" And the boss would respond, "Well, if you were excellent at negotiating, team building, selling, or reading financial statements, If you mastered this skill, you would be far more valuable than the average employee. So they would say, okay. They would then write down the development of that skill as a goal, just like a lesson plan for a subject in school. If you wanted to be a doctor or an engineer, they would tell you which courses to take to earn that degree. In this case, they would decide, all right, I need to read these books. They would then ask, what are the best books on this skill, and write them down. Next, they would ask, what are the best audio programs to listen to on this subject? Preferably Jim Rohn audio programs, which are the best. Third, they would ask, what courses and seminars should I attend to develop this skill? And finally, what actions can I take every day to improve this skill? They would then go to work, focusing on developing that one skill. Not like a machine gunner spraying in all directions, but like a sniper with precise aim. They worked on a single skill, whether it took a month, 3 months, or even a year, but they worked on it every single day. Now here's the magic number: 2 hours per day, 5 days per week, 10 hours in total. 2 hours per day of personal study on a single skill, 5 days a week. Now, here in Moscow, how many total hours are there in a week? That's 24 hours per day times 7. You can use a calculator if you like, or ask your friend. The answer is 168 hours. I know it's a tough one for university students to figure out, but that's where we start. There are 168 hours in a week everywhere. What we're saying is that if you want to reach the top of your field and become one of the highest paid and most successful individuals in life, take just 10 of those hours and invest them in yourself. That's all. This turned out to be the key strategy practiced by all the top performers. I have worked with the presidents of some of the biggest companies in the world, and they spend 2 to 3 hours each week reading and upgrading their skills. Do you know who the third richest man in the world is? A man named Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett started working as a newspaper delivery boy when he was just 14 or 15 years old. He would wake up at 5 a.m. while it was still dark and everyone else was asleep, and he would deliver newspapers. He did this for over 2 years, delivering more than 200,000 newspapers in that time. He earned 1 cent, 1 kopeck if you prefer, or 1 ruble per newspaper, and he saved his earnings. Eventually, he had saved $2,000. That $2,000 was his first investment, and after careful study, he made that investment. It grew, so he invested more. That investment grew again. Last year, his total investments were worth $350 billion. His company, now the 3rd or 4th largest in the United States and one of the biggest in the world, generated $25 billion in profits. By the way, $25 billion is a good number. That's a good amount for one person to grow a company that generates $25 billion in profits. And Warren Buffett has the same schedule almost every day. What he does is come to work and spend 80% of his time studying and reading subjects relative to his business. Only 20% of his time is spent in meetings, phone calls, or anything else. He dedicates 80% of his time to learning new things so he can make better decisions and achieve better results. So a question I sometimes ask adults is, how many hours a week do you spend studying new subjects to help increase your productivity and value? They found that these experts, these highly paid individuals, viewed earning ability like a ladder. A ladder has steps, and each step represents a skill. When you learn a new skill, you increase your earning ability. Additionally, you enhance your ability to utilize your other skills. Each time you learn a new skill, your earning ability goes up. Every new skill you acquire makes you more valuable, and people will pay you more for the results you can deliver for them. Now, if at any given time you decide to stop climbing the ladder of success, you will level off, just like most people do, about 80% of them. But then you will begin to decline because the skills you have are becoming obsolete at a rapid rate. They are becoming obsolete faster today than ever before. So if you are not constantly moving up the ladder, you are actually moving down the ladder. Many people don't understand why their income is not increasing. It's because they are not becoming more productive, not learning new skills, and not working on themselves to become more successful. Increasing your earning ability is the strategy used by the highest paid people in the world today. Every week they spend 10 hours or more studying a new skill, the one skill that can help them the most. They keep climbing that ladder and it just becomes a habit, a part of their life. Learning becomes as much a part of their daily routine as watching television, playing sports, or engaging in other activities. For them, continuous learning is a way of life. In some of my seminars, I pose this question: what are you learning today? In other words, what subject are you working on right now? A great exercise is to ask people during a break, what is your subject today? What are you working on? What are you learning about today? Everyone should have an answer. Today, I'm working on strategy. Today, I'm working on sales. Today, I'm working on presentation. Today, I'm working on team building. Everyone should be actively developing a new skill. A friend of mine wrote a best-selling book a couple of years ago, and the core idea was this: whatever got you to where you are today is not enough to keep you there. To go any further, you must develop new skills, continuously. And for how long? All your life, for the rest of your life. In an era of rapid change in information, technology, competition, and government policies, if there is rapid change happening outside of you, there must be even faster change happening inside of you if you want to be successful. The top people in every field are the ones who keep learning new skills all the time. 2 years ago, I was reading a piece on philosophy, and it stated that there are only a few things a person can do for themselves. A person can only breathe for themselves, a person can only eat for themselves, a person can only drink for themselves, and a person can only learn for themselves. Learning is the one thing that no one else can do for you. No one else can give it to you. Only you can learn new things through your own effort. When I discovered the concept of continuous learning, it felt like a miracle. I came from a poor background. We never had any money. When I left school, I didn't graduate. My first job was washing dishes in the back of a small hotel. When I lost that job, I got a job washing cars in the wintertime. You know what that's like. When I lost that job, I got a job washing floors with a janitorial service. I thought washing was in my future. My wife still gives me things to wash because she says she doesn't want me to lose my skill. I traveled and worked on farms. I worked in construction. I worked laboring jobs, digging wells, stacking lumber in factories. I worked on a ship in the North Atlantic. I worked in labor-intensive jobs until I was 23 years old. And when I could no longer find a laboring job, like many people today, I got a job in sales. And in sales, I was a complete failure because I had no training. For 6 months, I worked and worked, but I made no progress. I always say, starting off in sales with no skills is a great weight loss program, because if you don't sell, you don't eat. And I lost a lot of weight in those 6 months. Finally, I did something that changed my life. I went to the top salesperson in our company. He was a little older than me, but he was earning 10 times what I was making. I asked him, why are you so successful? Why are you earning so much money? He said, well, show me your sales system, your sales process, and I will give you feedback on it. I said, I don't have a sales system. I just knock on doors and talk to people until they tell me they're not interested. Then I move on to the next one. He said, no, that's not how you sell. The way you sell is by asking questions and looking for ways to help your customers achieve their goals with our products. And so I went out and started asking questions instead of just talking, and people started to respond to me differently. Then I began reading books on selling. Then I started listening to audio programs on selling. Then I attended seminars on selling. And every time I learned something new, my sales went up and up. Within 1 year, I was earning 10 times as much. I was earning more at the age of 25 than I had ever dreamed I would earn in my life. I was earning more than my father had earned after 40 years of hard work. I couldn't believe it. What I learned was this: every single field has success formulas. It has recipes that you can follow, and if you do what other successful people do, you eventually get the same results they do. So for the rest of my life, whenever I got into another business, and I've been in 22 different businesses, I would sit down and study. I would ask, what is the success formula in this business? How do people succeed? What do the top 20% of companies and the top 20% of individuals do? Then I would do that, and soon I would get the same result. People would say, how can you be so successful? You've never been in this business before. And I'd say, I just read the books. I just talked to the top people, and they told me what to do. Plans are very simple. Here's what you do. You make a list. Start with a list of everything you have to do. You've already identified it. You know what the goal is. You've broken the goal down into sub-deadlines. You've identified the knowledge you'll require, the obstacles you'll have to overcome, and the people whose cooperation you'll need. Make a list of everything you have to do. Then organize the list. First, by sequence. What comes first? What must be done before something else? Second, by priority. What is more important and what is less important? Once you have a list organized by sequence and priority, you have a plan. Now, you have the two great requirements for winning, a goal and a plan. Does it take a little while to do this? Yes. But once you have the goal and the plan, the very act of completing them programs them into your subconscious mind. In our advanced coaching programs, we teach people to write down and create goals and plans. Once they've done it, 90 days later, I ask, how many of you have reviewed your goals and plans in the last 90 days? Most of them haven't. Then I ask, how many of you have achieved your goals and plans? All of them. It's the most amazing darn thing, because by writing them out, they've programmed them into their subconscious mind, which then passes it off like a baton to the superconscious, which works 24 hours a day to bring it into their lives. And the most remarkable coincidences occur. Things start to happen. The phone rings. People sit down next to you socially and give you advice. Your boss gives you opportunities. Doors open. You get intuitions and insights. The most phenomenal things happen because you've programmed yourself with a goal and a plan. That's why people with goals and plans, according to the best research, accomplish 10 times as much as people without goals and plans, 10 times more than people without. So write down what you want. Make it clear so that the universe can help you get it. Emmett Fox, whom I mentioned before, wrote a book many years ago called The Mental Equivalent. Actually, it wasn't even a book, it was a pamphlet. And this little pamphlet is one of the most profound pieces of writing in history. It's just unbelievable. I had read Emmett Fox for years, and then someone came up to me and asked, have you ever read The Mental Equivalent? I said, no, I've read all of his books. Well, it wasn't that easy to get, so I got it. And what it basically says is this: you have one responsibility to your universe, and that is to create within your mind the mental equivalent of what you would like to see on the outside. If you do that, all the mental laws we've talked about and many more that we haven't had a chance to go into will all work, just like click, click, click. They'll all work, and what you want will appear on the outside by the laws of positive effect, belief, expectation, attraction, correspondence, and so on. Your job is to give the universe an absolutely crystal clear picture of the goal you want, and you can only get that by thinking it through and writing it down. So here's the exercise. This is your homework exercise. Take a clean piece of paper when you get home. This is the only test. This is a take-home test. This is a test to see how badly you really want to make next year a fabulous year. At the top of this page, write the word goals. Some of you have seen this before, but I need to teach it to everybody. You're going to write down 10 goals. You can write more than 10 if you like, but you must write a minimum of 10. These goals are 1-year goals, approximately. These are goals you want to accomplish this year. Health, income, car, travel, fitness, and so on. Write them in the present tense as though a year has passed and you are reporting that they have already been achieved. I drive such and such a car, I live in such and such a house, I weigh such and such a number of pounds, I take such and such a vacation. I write down one of my goals as spend time with my family. The more often I write it down repeatedly, the more time I spend with my family. If it's an important goal and you don't write it down, what happens? It gets shuffled aside. Write it in a positive way, not I will lose weight, but I weigh X number of pounds, not I will quit smoking, but I am a non-smoker. Always a positive statement. And third of all, always make it personal. Every goal you ever write for the rest of your life begins with the word I, because you are the only person in the universe who can use the word I with regard to yourself. Follow it with an action verb. I earn, I sell, I drive, I live in, I achieve, I accomplish, I acquire, I save. Always I plus an action verb. That's the way the subconscious mind accepts instruction. When the instruction comes in like that, it's immediately passed on to the superconscious. I have taken people through this exercise all over the world, and once I came back a year or two later, and they said the same words in every language. You won't believe what's happening to me. I wrote down those goals, and I never looked at them again. You won't believe what's happened to me. I found those goals in something a year later, and you won't believe what's happened to me. I published all the goals. I never looked at them again, because when you write down a goal, you activate 3 learning modalities. The visual, you see it. The auditory, you sub-vocalize it, you say it to yourself. And the kinesthetic, you write it. All 3 together, and it goes straight into the subconscious mind, and it gets passed on like one of those vacuum tubes for messages in old stores. Boom, straight into the superconscious. And then you just go on with the rest of your life, and 24 hours a day, this great superconscious mind is working to bring the goal into your life.